Rebound, Connaughton. Touchdown pass.
The power forward position may not be the flashiest, but it has produced some of the best players in the league's history. All-time greats like Tim Duncan won 5 NBA rings by absolutely dominating the position, whereas Karl Malone and Charles Barkley were the greatest players on their teams throughout their careers, despite not winning a championship. Stay tuned to the end of the video as we take a look at the top 10 best power forwards in NBA history.
Danny Green, lob, D! What a play!
Number 10. Kevin McHale. Kevin is legitimately one of the top 10 finest power forwards of all time, despite coming off the bench for almost half of his career. McHale, along with Larry Bird and Robert Parrish, led the Celtics to 3 NBA titles in 5 finals. Charles Barkley, a Hall of Famer, considers McHale to be the most difficult opponent he has ever faced in his career. His post moves and footwork were unstoppable, making him difficult to guard. McHale was also a strong defender, making the all-time defense first team 3 times. Number 9. Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, although still being in his peak, already has Hall of Fame credentials and might rise up this list significantly as his career unfolds. Davis is a great shooter and dribbler for his size, and he's incredibly mobile, which, combined with his freakish length, makes him an outstanding defender. In his 9th year, Davis has been named to the NBA All-Star team 8 times, only missing out in his rookie season. Davis earned his first NBA title in 2020, shortly after joining the Lakers. He has already won the Olympic Games in 2012 and the World Cup in 2014 while representing the United States. Still, Anthony Davis, who is 29 years old, has a long way to go in his career.
Lead for Davis, the tap. Oh, what a tap to LeBron! Oh, you got an extra 14. The lob to AD!
In LA.
Oh, Anthony!
8. Elvin Hayes. Elvin Hayes was without a doubt one of the most talented power forwards in NBA history. Despite playing during the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar era, he earned a name for himself in the NBA. He broke the NBA record for the youngest player to win the scoring title in his debut season, with 28.4 points per game in 1969. Hayes earned the nickname Bionic Man because he made the All-Star game every year for the first 12 seasons of his career and only missed 9 games in his 16 years in the league. 7. Bob Pettit. Centers and guards were the team's key scorers in his 60s, while power forwards were the rebounders. Bob Pettit, however, excelled on both ends of the court. He is the first basketball player to score 20,000 career points. He had an incredible Hall of Fame career, never averaging fewer than 20 points a game in his 11-year career. Perhaps most notably, Pettit was an NBA champion, made the All-Star team every year, and made 11 All-NBA teams. Number 6. Charles Barkley. Despite the fact that Charles does not have an NBA ring, he has accomplished everything else. He was named MVP and had a huge influence on the game with his post-scoring and rebounding abilities. He was the leader of a team that advanced to the NBA Finals against the Chicago Bulls and has the mentality and skill set to dominate the game. He's also an 11-time NBA All-Star and 5-time All-NBA First Team, not to mention that he has been inducted into the Hall of Fame twice. Once in 2016 for his solo career, and again in 2010 as a part of the Dream Team.
There's a steal. Good anticipation. Fight for Charles.
Number 5. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis's accomplishments in the NBA are already enough to place him among the top 5 finest power forwards of all time. In 2020, the Greek Freak joined Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon to win NBA MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same year. Before turning 27, Giannis went from playing in a semi-pro league to becoming the 15th overall pick in the NBA draft and earning multiple league MVP awards. Moreover, he is also the youngest player in NBA history to win 2 MVP awards before the age of 26. With the NBA championship last season, the sky is the limit for this guy.
Push ahead to Grayson Allen.
Better shooting off the move. There's nothing you can do about that one. Empty tripped over the wall.
Number 4. Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk deserves the credit for revolutionizing the power forward position. He turned the number 4 position into a skillful big man who could shoot, dribble, and pass. Dirk had a fantastic career that spanned 2 decades, but his greatest was earning an NBA ring in 2010-2011 after defeating a Miami Heat super team. Dirk perfected the one-legged fadeaway, a technique that makes defenders tremble to this day. In addition to his numerous NBA and Dallas Mavericks records, he is a 14-time NBA All-Star, 4-time All-NBA First Team, and the only player to play 21 seasons for one franchise.
Sitting and waiting. Oh, beautiful move by Nowitzki. Blue to him. Here's Nowitzki for the win.
3. Kevin Garnett. Only a few players in NBA history have the same level of versatility, athleticism, and defensive skill as 15-time All-Star Kevin Garnett. KG entered the NBA draft directly out of high school in 1995, transforming the Minnesota Timberwolves into a title contender. He also has 4 times All-NBA First Team and 9 times NBA All-Defensive First Team in his remarkable resume. KG was later inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2021, cementing his reputation as one of the finest power forwards of all time.
Here's to Garnett. Garnett inside, backs it in, and a foul. Oh, Raiders! Oh, the big team. It down. James cross court. Looking inside, Robinson. Oh, Garnett. Brandon over Weber.
Number 2. Karl Malone. This 14-time All-Star has averaged at least 20 points per game and 10.3 rebounds during the course of his 17-year career, stats that most players would love to have for a single season, let alone 17. The mailman is currently the 2nd highest scorer in NBA history, with a stellar career that featured 2 finals appearances and an incredible scoring record. He was the ideal post player who could step out to mid-range and was the driving force behind an all-time great Utah Jazz team that surprisingly does not have an NBA title.
Left-handed, he can do it all. Malone hard to the hoop.
Number 1. Tim Duncan. Nobody deserves the crown of the best power forwards of all time other than Tim Duncan. His credentials would position him among the NBA's all-time greats. Duncan is the ideal of a franchise player, having spent 2 decades with the Spurs and guiding them to 5 NBA championships. He earned 2 league MVP titles to go along with his 3 finals MVPs. With his simple, efficient textbook talents, he was dubbed the Big Fundamental and would have an impact on both the offensive and defensive ends of the court. Over his 20 seasons in NBA, he scored 26,496 points, placing him 14th all-time in scoring. Duncan has also been a 15-time NBA All-Star and 1-time All-Star MVP. The only regret is that Duncan was never named Defensive Player of the Year, but for the time being, no other power forward can match his defensive impact. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, press the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any new videos.